of Love, where we can really speak openly and candidly about every single thing that could be on your mind, whether it's dealing with love, relationships, or sex. I'm Lenny Green. You know this lady right here.
Hello, Indy Smith. I'm here.
And we're joined by a young man who I've known for quite some time. He's been known to throw me under a bus.
He looks nervous.
He doesn't need to be nervous. Actually, in most cases, the people who are going to see him are nervous, and that would have been me. It is nice to welcome a brother who he pays very close attention to numbers. He's my accountant. His name is Mr. Greg Collins, and well respected and well known within the industry. And trust me, Indy, when I went to sit down with him, I was in big trouble.
Oh, wow.
I could be still in big trouble, but I was in bigger trouble.
Okay.
And, it was a little intimidating.
I should be nice to him.
You should be.
Okay.
You don't have to be, though.
Well, I thank you guys for having me here.
You're welcome.
But the idea is for me to not get in trouble tonight.
Right. And that would be
that's important.
That would be the task.
But what's your guardrail? Like, what's the threshold? Like, what can you not talk about, or what can't you do?
Well, I can push the envelope a little bit, and let's see. But when I get to that edge, I might have to stop, and I might have to use. I might have to be anonymous about certain things.
Okay.
So, it's not actually me. It's somebody else. It's that other guy.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Right, sure.
Okay.
Well, look, let's talk about, we could piggyback off of quite a few things. Let's piggyback off of what we were talking about with Tashira Simmons.
Nice. That was a great interview.
When is it time to get out of a relationship? Are there what's the early warning signs? I mean, because especially who I worry about really these days are the kids.
Okay.
Because I mean, look, I mean, as soon as the hormones kick in, I guess that's around 13 or probably younger these days.
You're talking about like child relationships, then?
Yeah, exactly. Because children are definitely doing the unthinkable.
Right.
They really are. And they don't know what's going on.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, and I am putting myself under the 18-wheeler right now. I started young. You still look like you're kind of young, though. Very young. Thanks, Vito. Yeah, we're aged. I'm aged. Okay, so I started young, and now looking back at my young self, and not to judge her, but where was my mother? Where was she?
To what?
Why was I starting? Why was I in a relationship so young? Like
How old were you?
14.
Oh, you were out of control.
Yeah. This is the thing.
I was a late bloomer.
This is the thing. My mother, I went to private schools, and I was around a certain element from birth to junior high school. My mother put me on a bus and told me it was time for me to go to school on my own, and I lost it ever since then. I started like it was like she threw me to the wolves.
There's a woman who could probably testify and agree with what you're saying. Well, at the well, let me ask you, Greg. I mean, because you have children. At what age is a good age to start dating, or it's cool for a kid to start dating?
Well, let me first say this before we go any further. I want to commend you for having Tashira here. Tashira is the ultimate, what do you call, a ride or die chick. She, when you talk about someone that a man needs in their life to help build them and make them strong and build their character and cover some of their flaws, well, you have that in her. But unfortunately, a lot of guys can't appreciate what they have when they have something like that.
Yeah, because Lord knows I would appreciate a ride and die.
Okay, but you said something. You said something that we might want to go back and correct. I don't think women should be out there hiding people's flaws. That's the problem.
That's not what I said.
That's not what I said.
I just said what she is, and I agree with you that women shouldn't be out there hiding people's flaws. But I got to tell you, as a man, if you could find someone that is strong enough in character to help build you
right.
and progress, and you can ultimately appreciate,
okay,
then you need to hold on to that.
The problem is, Greg, most who have that, it goes right over their head. Because, they say, a lot of people don't even recognize the value of a person sometimes when they're in the midst of their life.
But let's go back to your question in terms of when to get out.
When is it? Well,
you know, and you know, in order to answer when to get out, you got to talk about when to get in.
So when is a good age for kids to get in?
And you have to, you know, and I know young people nowadays think that they know it all and have it all, but the reality is that when you're young, you're not exactly as bright as you think that you are. You don't have the benefit of experience, and you certainly don't have the benefit of actually being able to know another person and know where that person is coming from. And quite frankly, you don't yet know yourself.
No,
but until you know yourself, you can't really deal with another person.
But you know, and let's tell the truth and shame the devil. We were all young, and we all thought we were that. We all thought at that young age we knew it all, and that our parents was some villain.
I know I did.
You have no idea?
I know I did. I thought
so we all did that. So, I mean, obviously it takes the consistent pressure or verbalness from our parents or our parent to constantly kind of put us in check.
Because guess what? When you're 14, you're a victim.
Yeah.
You're a victim. You are a story waiting to happen.
Well, first of all, can anyone co-sign the fact that your brain isn't even developed?
It's not.
Like you're not there. There's certain elements. Your chemical makeup is not done.
It's not done.
It's not done, and so there's certain things, judgments, you're just not going to even understand, even if somebody sat down and spoke to you
we're
about
not.
it.
It's not
and let's understand. I fully agree with the concept that women mature faster than men.
Mm-hmm.
And I would tell you that men, sometimes even at an advanced age, really just don't have the maturity or intelligence to really understand exactly what they're getting into.
Right.
And quite frankly, nowadays, because of what they're presented with, they enjoy the festivity as opposed to being able to take situations seriously and be able to offer something that they really have into that situation.
Right. And I get that, but in layman's terms, Facebook, Twitter, online dating, everything is thrown our way. So now we like the idea of the attention that we get for relationships instead of the hard work that it takes to grow the relationship.
When you say we, are you saying
I'm
we as women or we as men?
I'm including both of us. I don't like to throw men under the bus because there's some good men out there.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of good men out there. There are even a lot of great men out there. Mm-hmm. But quite frankly, what we have now is a convenience that there are a lot of ways to get laid.
Wow.
It's true.
Yeah, it's very convenient. There are a whole lot of ways to go about it.
Okay,
not have to put in that work to make a relationship happen.
So when is a good time to get into a relationship? If your daughter or your son said, "Look, I think I'm ready," or what? Is there an age, or is it a conversation?
Let's say that it's always a good time to get to know another person, even a person of the other sex. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to be in a relationship. Mm-hmm. I think people take that wrong. You have a friend. You have somebody that you know, that you hang out with, that you enjoy life with, as you're getting to know. Because until you know them, you can't really have a relationship with them. And you certainly shouldn't have sex.
Well, hold. Let me stop.
That sounds great.
I'm sorry, Lenny.
No. Well, I'm not trying to come off as a sex fiend here, but this all sounds...
The reality is...
what it is.
Perfect, right? But it's too perfect. The reason why it's so perfect, Greg, is because you and I both know these kids, as soon as those hormones kick in, it's not even about anything else but sex. I hosted a party that was a teen party, and I was shocked that the only thing that the girls did was back up on the guy and stayed in that position, and the guys was just riding them. That's the only thing they did throughout the entire party. I'm like, where in the hell are the chaperones?
No, you did not have to participate. You realize that.
I'm not a pedophile,
wow.
Greg. I'm not a pedophile. I'm not a sex fiend, man. I wouldn't do that. But that was the most shocking thing that I've ever seen, because I've never hosted a teen party. So if teens were doing that, and I'm talking about over 8 years ago, all right? So I can imagine what they're doing today.
Well,
so, I mean, obviously, see, you serve as a great role model for your children, because they can have a conversation with you before the hormones kick in. So that way, when the hormones kick in, now it's about being a friend. Let's look at the kid that doesn't have a person like you there. And there's a lot of kids out here that don't have that parent, whether it's a mom or whether it's a dad, to have that conversation before the hormones kick in, and they get out there and it's all over. And they're doing the unthinkable. And that's why we have teenage pregnancies. Matter of fact, there's a movie that just came out by an independent black filmmaker last week called Life, Love, and Soul. And it's an all-star cast. You know, Chad Coleman and Jamie Hector from The Wire in it. Terry Vaughn is in it. A lot of good actors in it. But the primary character, played by Robbie Tate, he plays a 17-year-old kid, right, who gets a girl pregnant in high school. It happens. And it just didn't happen on this movie. It's been happening a long time ago. So, you know, it's great, man. I think it's great. I think the kids today need more talking to, because I think kids are not getting communication. They're just not getting it.
Yeah, not talking but having a conversation. Yeah.
Well, let me say this. You have up until the time that a child becomes a teenager to really be able to influence them and influence what happens. Okay. After then, you have to hope that the lessons that you've given them will sink in, right. And when they get into situations, they'll know what to do. But quite frankly, when they get in those situations, the hormones kick in, and there are a lot of more powerful things that take place. Right. You can only hope that you've really reached them and communicated with them, and they know the right thing to do. Right. But the most important thing is for them to have self-esteem and understand themselves. That's the most important thing. Right. At that point, they'll understand how they want to give themselves or not give themselves. True. And how they look at other people, how other people value them or not value them. And that's important. But the conversations are so important for kids. I don't think we can talk to our kids enough, because the world that we're living in now has transformed and it's gotten better from a technology standpoint, but it's gotten worse in so many ways as well. And without the conversations taking place, our kids are going to continue to spiral out of control and be lost. You know what one of the major differences is now, before going back to when perhaps you and I grew up, is that, you know, Greg, I'm not that old. Well, okay. Then I'll just put myself in that category. Okay, yeah, please. And I'll talk to you later. I would say that we actually had to be able to convince a young woman to go to first or second or third base or hit a home run. We had to actually have a certain level of conversation that would get them there. But now it seems like young women just throw themselves at young men. You know, I can say that with my sons, is that, you know, it's like you almost beating them off. Hey, get away, you know. And what happens is that you lose a lot of the discussion that should take place between a young man and a young woman before you get to that point of even having sex or going forward. You know, and that's a problem nowadays. And, you know, because young women aren't really valuing themselves and what they have and what they have to give. And quite frankly, they are extremely valuable in the course of a relationship and a future. You know, going forward. So if they take that away from themselves, then certainly they have no hope at having a successful relationship with someone, because they don't value the most valuable thing in that relationship. Yeah, you know what I think we need to do, Indy? I think we need to do a forum. Absolutely. And get all the kids together and just have a real talk conversation for teens. Absolutely. Because otherwise, you know, again, we're looking at everything in retrospect from an adult standpoint. But guess what? We've been through the trial and error. Yeah, we've scuffed up our knees and legs on some things that we did along the way, but we made it through the storms that we went through. I don't know how good it is or how fortunate a lot of these children are today to be able to make it through some of the storms. I mean, you know, with the peer pressure going on.
Like tragic these days. Yeah. And maybe, you know, I'm older. You know, everyone that gets older says that things are worse now than when, but they really, really are. And I think it's sad, because the reason you are attracted, I'm going to speak from a female perspective.
I hope so.
A lot of the times, hush, you can't speak. Hush.
You can't speak from a man's perspective.
Well, I can't, but I mean,
I know you have 23 chromosomes, right? Okay.
Anyway, from a female perspective, you're attracted to a nurturer and someone that will pay you attention and pay you positive attention. Now, whether you know the difference if it's positive or not, that's the thing. Because at a certain age, our hormones are raging also. Like, we are attracted, we want to be touched, and oh my goodness, this feels good. And
you're
we don't
fast.
know how to. Yeah, faster. Yeah.
You're faster than the guys sometimes.
Yeah, we do have
Tell
to
the truth, ladies.
You're
fast. The guy could be innocent. If the guy don't make a move,
that's not innocent.
Huh?
You taking it somewhere else.
No, I'm not. Look, I'm putting myself.
Innocent. You just slow. You just need to be taught sometimes.
Oh, so you want to push me to the cuff?
I'm just saying.
To the edge.
Sometimes
I'm trying to say, look, let's get to know each other. You're like, forget that.
My point is this.
I'm trying to hear your point.
It's the conversation that they want. That kids and from a female's perspective, the minute we have a conversation, the minute we're shown attention, not the sexual attention, but I take an interest in what you have to say, and you consistently give us that, we're in love. You don't have to touch us. We're in love with that. Whether we recognize it as, should it be love? Should it be a relationship? It's just attention. I'm gonna focus on that guy because he is paying me some attention. And if that starts at home, single mom, single father family, if that starts at home, then whoever gives you attention outside of the home will be put into perspective. It won't be so special. Okay, I get attention at home. Yeah, but you're not. Yeah, but well, So I think that's important.
Let's talk about that for a second, because the thing about love is actually a very selfish emotion. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel warm inside. Okay, and it's okay. You have to learn how to accept that within yourself. Mm-hmm. But quite frankly, when you're that young, focus on having a friend as opposed to having to have a boyfriend. Mm-hmm. I know there's a lot of peer pressure that says I have to have a boyfriend and be in a relationship, and that makes me better than the next person who doesn't have a boyfriend. Mm-hmm. But quite frankly, focus on having a friend, getting to know that person. And then ultimately you know whether or not they are deserving of being your boyfriend.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But, you don't know that unless you're taught.
No, because look, when I was in, I was in Catholic school, right? And there was.
I would have never known that, Lenny.
I would.
I don't understand.
It's always the Catholic school ones that are sneaky and do crazy stuff. I'm just saying.
Except me. I know. I'm the exception to the rule. There's always one exception to the rule. That probably was Lenny Green. But, when I was in Catholic school, there was one girl who would kick me.
She liked you.
And I guess I'm like,
she was frustrated. I'm sorry.
I'm in the 8th grade. You're kicking me, and I'm in the 8th grade.
Hey,
I wasn't giving it up. You're right. I wasn't
giving it up.
You're right. I wasn't giving it up in the 8th grade.
She was like, I want him, and he don't want me.
And guess what? And that was then. Whatever then years. I'm not gonna put the year on it.
You give it up now. Is that what you're saying?
No. You're going in a whole different direction, Greg.
Okay, everybody. Lenny gives it up now. We should all know that.
That's a good one. LennyGivesItUp.com. I'm sorry. Anyway. It just sounds good. It's just like, sorry, okay.
There's not a week that goes by that I don't get thrown under the bus. There's not a week that goes by. So what I observe, girls today, like I've watched kids get out of school, and girls are like, bam, they like hitting the guys upside the head, jumping on their backs. I'm like, well, dag. So is that the same situation? They ain't giving it up?
No, I really don't know what's going on with the kids these days. I mean, sometimes I'm on public transportation, and I do not get on public transportation between certain hours. Like I won't do it.
Public transportation. So I see what's going on.
I'll go to jail. I will.
Well, I can see from the kids that I've raised, and I can see that when you look at boys, they get a lot of pressure. They get approached, especially if they are popular. My kids play sports. Yeah. They were involved in different activities. They're very popular in school. So you had girls all the time.
Level-headed.
Approaching them. And, I'm not saying that they never took advantage of that. But
that's not. So proudly, right? Proudly. Would you say the same thing, Greg, for the daughter?
Well, no. No.
That's a double standard then.
Yeah, certainly it is. Because I absolutely agree. What's your point?
I like that double standard.
I get it. Because
I would say with my daughter, I spent a lot of time talking about recognizing exactly where a guy was coming from. And, and recognizing game. And certainly I was able to share with her that I had a lot of experience in the process of pursuing women.
Oh, was that a politically
absolutely I did.
Statement?
I did. I spent probably one Sunday, I sat her down, began in the morning.
How old was she?
At the time, she was maybe 16.
Okay.
And by the time the conversation was over, she was 18.
And I said to her, I started in the morning, I began to say to her every possible thing that a guy would say to her. And initially it was funny. But by the end of the day, she started saying, wow. I mean, you know, a lot of this is crap. And it really is. Now, just to be frank, the when the hormonal things kick in, a lot of what you taught really goes out the window. and it's gone. But I would say at least she heard it. In fact, when she went to her first prom, when she came home, I sat her down and I said, I'm going to tell you everything that the guy said to you. And she says, were you spying on me? Were you there? No, you know, I wasn't there, but I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been there. I know, and I'm pretty good at this process. Ask your mother.
Wow.
You know,
okay.
so I was able to communicate that to her, and hopefully, it opened her eyes to a lot of things.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Well, I'm sure it did. I'm sure. Something tells me your kids, man, they definitely got a straightforward, no holds bar answer from you in terms of what they needed to do and what they shouldn't.
Not just for me, but for my wife also. Not just for me.
So you're saying that as a parent really need to be hard on their children?
You need to be real with them. You need to be real with them. You know, we had one of our kids when he was in college. He got a very serious girlfriend, and they were together for years and years. And you know, I was able to explain to him, and I'm seeking for a nice way to say this.
No.
But I was able to explain to him that perhaps her motivation wasn't all about him. Because
he was in sports?
No, and he was just a student in school. But I was just saying, you know, his most shining asset was the fact that his parents had money.
Oh. Okay.
And so I let him know, you know, hey, listen, these things that you think that she's doing to you, she's really doing to me. And if you're not careful, I'm going to push you out the way and go direct and get mine.
Wow.
You know.
How did he take that?
He thought it was a joke at first. And later on he found out everything I said was true.
Okay.
But, you know, my wife even said to him one time, said to them, you know, they were at the house and they were very comfortable. And she said, listen, you guys have been together for a while. Lenny's smiling because he's met my wife. She said, you guys have been together for a while. We see things are going really great and it's nice. No reason to stop using condoms.
Bam.
Nice.
She was not expecting that.
Nice.
No.
Miss DR.
They were not expecting that.
Wow. Okay, so very straightforward. And that can catch you off guard sometimes.
Oh, yeah, because they still had a child.
Oh.
You know, but I mean, he's developed him to be a great father.
Okay.
They're unfortunately not together anymore, but you know, we have a great relationship with the son, and everything is good. You know, but you as a parent, you can't force things. You have to communicate.
Right.
And as they grow into adults, they'll do what they want to do.
Right. Well, we were discussing. Pretty much, we were discussing abusive relationships, and then we got off topic to just really getting in what age is a good age in relationships. Period. But I'm gonna be honest when it comes to like abusive situations. When you're done, you're done, and I think your support system outside of the relationship is, if not more important, to everything, because when you're done, you're done. When you're not done, you still don't deserve to be condemned, ridiculed, any of that while you're still in it. Like, your outside sources are very key in how you decide to stay, leave. And I say this, love doesn't end, it transforms. So you can be in a situation and a person love you and you love each other and it not be healthy. And if you get help, it helps the love stick together, or it still might change and you're not together. But I really think that condemning people when they're in a situation is just as bad as them being in a situation just in it.
Sure. Well, being so Miss DR stepped into the room. Let's throw it to her, because you come from that generation. You're that younger generation that is still soul searching in many ways. So, How do you confront or deal with a guy who is abusive, or do you know the early signs?
Well, this is the first time I ever talk about this, but I grew up in an abusive family. Like, I come from where my father used to beat me, and after that, like, me leaving my house at an early age, looking for that family love, I wound up being with somebody who used to also put his hands on me. But I thought it was okay because my father used to do it. You know what I'm saying? And in a situation like that, for me to leave was, since I didn't have nowhere to go, I had to put up with certain things. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't have that support system. I don't have my family. I don't have aunts and uncles who can, you know what I'm saying? Or like peers who can, at that time, who could have helped me. You know what I'm saying? For me to leave that situation is when he took out a machete out, and like, I had to realize, he's really going to kill me if I didn't leave the situation. You know what I'm saying? So that's when I realized, like, I have to pack my stuff and, like, go to a friend's house or something. You know what I'm saying? And I was in a situation that I was 19. I was engaged at that time. And I was with somebody who was 28. You know what I'm saying? So it's like our age difference was different. And I thought that being with an older man,
you would have been safe.
I would have been safe, which was not. It wasn't the case. You know what I'm saying? Which some situation, it depends on the situation. But as a woman, you really have to be really, really strong for you to leave. Because sometimes love can be blind, and as a woman, we can be doing the dumbest thing there is. For real.
How long did you stay in that situation?
I was with him for like a year. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
You know, let me talk about that from the opposite end. And let me first say that a lot of what we are is what we've learned as we've grown up.
Yeah.
And, you know, I grew up in an abusive household. Lenny's liquor is becoming popular.
No, she's like this. Leave her. Watch your drink.
But a lot of what we are is what we've learned as we've grown up. And I would say that I also grew up in an abusive household. My father, he beat all of us. You know, he beat 6 kids in the family. We all got it, and my mother got it.
Beatings beyond discipline.
Yes, beyond that. Okay. You know, and so I would say that as the boys, we thought that was the way to be. And I would say as an adult, having attempted to be that way, I figured out a couple of things. Number one, that wasn't really me. I wasn't being me.
Right.
Number one. And then number two, you know, when my now ex-wife became pregnant, it was like, wow, you know, not only is this somebody that I have to live with and be with every day, but she's carrying my son. I mean, like, there's something wrong with this picture that needs to be corrected. So in my case, I came to very early on to a reality check to say that this is not the way that I want to be.
Wow.
You know, and there are a lot of better ways to communicate. You know, because you can't control a person. And in fact, if you're smart, you want a person to be who they are, so you can sit back and observe exactly who they are, and then you learn whether or not that relationship has a future.
Right.
And whether or not you should be in that relationship. Right. So, but a lot of people, especially, you know, and I want to come down on men because I am a man, but I would say that a lot of times we don't think about what it is that we're doing and why we're doing it. Wow. And if you have somebody that is that special to you, that you want to commit your life to, then you really don't want to be in a situation where you're harming them in any way.
Right.
Because by harming them, you're harming yourself, you're harming your relationship, you're harming your household. You're doing a lot of harm to things that can do a lot of good to you in the future.
Well, I mean, would you say that, would you agree that a lot of things are based a lot of times in fear? Like we react out of fear. And
well, fear and insecurity.
Right.
Insecurity. And knowing yourself makes you secure. Mm-hmm. If you don't know yourself, you're always going to be insecure. So you have to spend some time, you know, not worrying about rushing into a relationship, but knowing who you really, really are.
Right.
If you know that, you know what you want, what you need, what you can accept, what you can't accept. You know.
I mean, but with that being said, that comes with time also. That really comes, like, you know, I'm in my 30s and I know what I want.
You are?
Oh, yeah.
Girl, I thought you was
but
25.
But 25. I'm 25. For 5 more times, I'm 20. No. But, like, I know I know what pleases me.
Yes.
I'm not quite certain I know what I want because I change all the time. I know what I don't want.
Yes.
Because I know what I've had that didn't work.
Yeah.
And won't work. It's not going to happen. But doesn't that come with time? Like, knowing yourself comes with time. And sometimes we go through stuff. I'm not condoning any harm on anyone. But sometimes we go through the, baptism by fire to get to the point where we know ourselves. And so, like, what do you...
But it's never too soon or too late to learn to do the right thing. It really never is. And when you hit that point, you got to go hardcore and do the right thing.
Right. When you know better, do better.
Exactly.
When you know better, do better. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's important.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I mean, you said you were in an abusive relationship.
Mm-hmm.
What did you learn? What did you learn from that?
What did I learn from it? Actually, what it has done to me personally is it's like sometimes I just don't care about men no more. Like, it's like, you know what I'm saying?
Has that built up? Has that put a wall?
Yeah, it puts up a big wall. So it's like, I think that every man is the same. And then for me to open up, it takes time.
Okay.
Sometimes that pushes any type of man I'm with or any type of man I talk to.
Are you aware of some of the traits that didn't work in that relationship in new people? Like, do you see certain things in the beginning and then you back away, you stay away, or do you get
that is no, because even sometimes it's hard to tell because even when that situation I had he was the best man in the world
in the beginning.
But then towards the middle is when everything just started changing and getting worse and worse and worse.
A year really isn't a year isn't a long time. No, people can hold their breath. My father says hold their breath for a long time and not reveal who they really are. I mean, for years. Some people are together for years and just don't know, what the person is really made of. I think a year, that's not a long time.
But it is a blessing that it only took that amount of time.
Yes, it is.
For you to find out.
Yeah, because sometimes females are in a relationship for 4 or 5 years, and then later on they find out who the guy is. Sometimes,
and it's a blessing you don't have any children.
No, thank God. I mean, and sometimes it turns out that a female can, just because they love somebody, it don't mean you gotta put up with that person.
Right.
Right. And we just so and I think it's maybe just a nature in us because we so forgiving and we got sometimes that mother feature and that caring feature in us that we think that everything is alright
and we can fix it.
And we can fix it. But it's not really. All reality is not like that.
But let me tell you a man's secret.
Mm-hmm.
As a man,
we need some secrets.
I'll tell you a man's secret. As a man, if I can look you in the eye and I want to hit you or abuse you in any way, then I really don't love you. I really don't respect you. I really don't understand what you are to me. Mm-hmm. And most importantly, I'm really not in touch with my emotional self to accept whatever pain that comes my way. Because as a man, we have to accept pain. And you can hurt me. You can hurt me. You can do things that will break my heart. But when you break my heart, I have to accept that that's what just happened.
Right.
I can't accept that now I got to strike out at you and abuse you. I because I've never actually dealt with what actually happened. I have to accept what happened first in order for me to grow or really to be a man, call myself a man. Mm-hmm. I have to accept that. I don't want you to hurt me. Believe me. Mm-hmm. Don't want to. Been there, done that. Very painful. But the thought of hitting you as a result of that should not cross my mind. Now, I might leave you. Mm-hmm. Okay? I might go on and do something else because you've shown me that you're not the woman for me. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to hit you. Okay? That's just not what it should be.
I mean, also go vice versa because, I've seen, even some females who would hit a man. I think in any type of relationship, I think in any type of relationship, like there's no supposed to be no type of like hands involved, any type of, you know what I'm saying? Just respect each other's boundary. If you're at the point that you're gonna hit somebody, I think you should just walk away.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Walk out the door, come back the next day, cool off, because sometimes like it can get really ugly, because sometimes there's females who wind up killing a man who can wind up killing, there's lives that can't cost.
But if you understand yourself and you value yourself, like with me, I think that the most harmful thing I could ever do to a woman is to leave her, because I think I bring so much to the table in our relationship, and she has so much when she has me, that if I really want to hurt her, I leave her.
Once again, it's going back to value.
Exactly.
Knowing your value
exactly.
system. Knowing your value system. Okay.
Exactly. So that's worse than beating you to death, quite frankly, in my case, I think. Because I'll walk away. Now you don't have this anymore. See if you can find it somewhere else. Good luck.
Nice.
It is nice. His name is Greg Collins, CPA.
Nice.
Would that be appropriate? CPA?
Yeah, that's true. But I'm so much more than that. You can't just.
No, yeah. Well, I think this is the first time in all the years that I've known Greg to get the philosophical perspective on life. Although we've had a lot of business lunches, and we've had a lot of consultations around finances and how you can better your life.
When you're good in relationships and you're good with value in yourself, he has a great You can tell he has a great relationship with money.
Well, that's a nice comparison.
No,
I love money,
and you have a great relationship.
I love money.
He really does.
I have a very great relationship.
We all
with
need
money.
better relationships with money.
I love money.
Well, for people in general, and I know it's different maybe for people who are into business, Greg. Can you balance out what's the best way for people to start? Because I want to get this perspective out there before we shut it down. We only have a few more minutes. What's the first and most important thing we need to do in order to start our financial foundation of happiness? Because they say, Lord knows you know better than I do about my life, but they say that most people are like a paycheck away from
being
homeless. Homelessness.
Right. But also, one of the primary reasons why people divorce or relationships don't work is because of money.
Financial.
And
is that healthy? Is that a good thing? I've always wondered that. Should people be fighting over? It's not the money per se, but is that a good thing? Is that healthy to be fighting over money? Is it justifiable?
If you're fighting over money, you don't have a healthy relationship.
Okay.
I think is it because also sometimes they got to be doing. It has to do because sometimes it's like for us women, we be spending on nonsense half the time, and sometimes men can spend their money on nonsense half the time.
Yes.
I feel like if there's a reason for it, I don't think it's unhealthy.
Well, you got to look at what is it that you're trying to build in your relationship.
Okay.
And where are you trying to go in your relationship? I work with money. Part of what I do, I work with artists and entertainers, and I help them build their wealth. So I work on a lot of deals, and I bring things to the table. And what I try to tell them is that you can make a lot of money today, or you can be wealthy for the rest of your life. It's a choice that you make. And in a relationship, you got to look at that also. You got to say, listen, do I want to enjoy the fact that I'm with someone that makes a lot of money and we can do all these things today, or do I want to live a certain way for the rest of my life? And that's important. So what are you in it for? What are you in it for, the short run or the long run? Do you want to spend money on foolish things, or do you want to have substance that can take you a long way? And I would tell you that I couldn't be involved with anybody that was looking at the short term. Every day you're telling me that you wanted to go here and do this and do that. We will do those things. We will do those things just because that's the natural product of who I am and what I do. But we won't do them to the extent that it destroys our ability to do it on a long-term basis. I will never sacrifice the short term for the long term.
But some people think they don't see that. Some people think, okay, I want to go on a $5,000 vacation, and not. They really do think
come back and be broke.
Well, and I'm not co-signing it. I'm just saying some people work hard every day, And they justify, oh, I've been working for 5 years and never had a vacation yet. I want to go on this vacation. I deserve it. Like, they really, truly, honestly believe that they're justified in that, not seeing that, okay, we'll go on a $1,200 vacation for maybe just a week, and then in 10 years you can have something. I mean, they don't see it. So how do you start that? How do you teach people to think differently?
Well, one of my clients said something to me that I'm not necessarily going to co-sign, but it caused me to think. One of my clients is 50 Cent. And he said to me, he says, vacations are for poor people. And I'm not saying that I co-sign with that.
Okay.
But I am saying that until you reach your goal in terms of where you're going to be at, you need to worry about having the energy to help you get where you got to be.
Right. Okay.
When you're there, then you relax and you enjoy it.
I get that. In other words, so we don't co-sign that. For the financially challenged person, basically, well, there's two things in that. I heard two things in that. One was, I don't ever need a vacation because what I do, I love. I don't feel like I'm working.
I'm that way also.
My vacation is what I do. Like, yes. Not being able to do it stresses me out, and that makes me need a vacation. That's one. But two, you're never going to get to where you want to go if you keep spending the money.
Exactly.
Like your whole life can be a vacation if you just grind hard. 10 years goes by like that.
Yes.
So just being able to sacrifice for the long term. You shouldn't need a vacation. You shouldn't. You should not need a vacation. As long as you're above ground, there's no such thing. You sleep when you're dead.
Well, a part of knowing yourself is knowing how to manage your personal stress, and that's important. If you know yourself, you know when you're getting to the edge. You know when to pull back. You know the things that make you calm. You know the vacations you can take within your day. To help you exist and be strong and move forward. And that's important. Right. If you haven't managed that process, do you look for things outside of you?
Outside, and then that's when you become a consumer and spend the money.
Exactly.
Okay. Nice.
Exactly.
This is the reality of love. And tonight was an educational moment.
It was.
Yes, it was.
We pushed the envelope. It was a nice pushing.
No, yeah, it was a nice balance. Nice balance.
Good. It was good.
Nice
Stay for me. So
push.
good.
I'm Lenny Green. This is Miss Indy Smith.
Hola.
Our regular resident, special reoccurring Miss DR.
Yes.
And, of course, our special guest, Brother Greg Collins. Greg, how can people learn more about you or reach out to you for help? Financially, of course.
Well, I'm in the process of building my website. I have my own company called G. Collins & Company. If you Google me on the web, Greg Collins, you'll see a lot of things that I've done. I'm very active in the community, and you'll see a lot of things that I've done, and you can always reach me. I would say that I'm not Lenny Green, so I'm not necessarily here to
you know
provide.
What? You don't need to be Lenny Green. You Google him, and you understand why.
But we are in the process of building an institution that's going to help people get beyond the initial push of having money and then losing money. I would also say that I'm in the process of negotiating a deal to write a book.
Nice.
Wow.
About some of the financial concepts that I've developed over the years. And I actually did a presentation at Congressional Black Caucus this year. And some of those concepts we're going to put in writing, and we'll go forward with it. But know yourself, and that's the most important thing I can say to anybody. Know yourself.
I think you should do a program, a program or workshop for kids our age though, because I be around even though I'm at a different level because I work harder than what I'm supposed to do, but it's a lot of people I used to go to college my first year of college or high school. It's there's a lot of kids right now who think having so much fun they're in college whatever and is partying all the time and they're not financially stable. They think living in their family house. Meanwhile, they can't support them, it's cool, you know? Like, it's cool living with your parents till you're 25, 26, but what happens, you know, people die, you know what I'm saying? Let's keep it realistic, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have, like, including, like, one of my friends, like, you know, she depends on her moms all the time, and then she don't care because her mom gives her money all the time, but she's older than me. I'm like, yo, you need to get a job. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Like, you know, like, it's like, a lot of kids our age is like, we spend our money in nonsense, and it's like, you need to have your own apartment. Like, you need to have your own, like, car. You need to invest your money. But we're running around reckless because we think, like, every club is popping. Let's go spend, like, $40. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you need a plan. That's what you're saying, is you need a plan.
Yeah.
And I would tell you that when I was in college, I grew up, I'm from Newark, New Jersey. I grew up in the streets.
I'm from, New
Jersey
too.
And I never thought that I would live beyond 18. When I got to 18, I said, well, let me manage the process of living beyond 18. And I began to start planning. And I would say to you that if you want to accomplish anything, begin to plan. If you have a plan, you have something to work towards, and you can perhaps accomplish something in your life. That's important.
I think you gave us a nice concept. I think we need to definitely start something for, we need to do a forum.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hosted by Lenny Green, and of course, I'm trying to get on all his forums, that's for sure. So we could be focused 100%. But I think hopefully you gained and got some valuable information, as you do every week, on the reality of love. And we look forward to being with you next Thursday night at 11 o'clock, where we bring it to you live. And please tell a friend to tell a friend. Make sure you jump on our fan page on Facebook, The Reality of Love. And you can get our email address as well, because send in your topics and your concerns. And Greg Collins, thank you so much. We're going to have to invite you back, man, to give us a part 2 of some other series.
See you, Lenny, anytime.
Nice.
Brother,
You're the man.
I'm glad you
See
said
you anytime.
that. And now that we have you recorded, we will always rewind this part of the tape. Indy.
Yes, sir.
Until next week, Miss DR. Till next week, Miss DR.
Next week. It's like my home.
Exactly. This is like home for Miss
Yes.
DR. Thanks for watching, y'all. We'll see you soon.
Work it out. Work it out.
Knees having a problem there, brother?
Yeah. I want to stay down there long enough. All right, darling. Thank you, darling. You want me to work? You
It
crash?
smells so good.
I'm about to crash next door.
I know.
I see you guys in a few.
All right.